CHS is it's a community, it's a family, it's a collection of experiences, it's a collection of memories.
The level of heart investment in every one of these guys that comes through this place is just so deep that sometimes it gets hard to distinguish between your family and your work.
The vision of the school really became my vision, and it did that for all of the first 4 teachers that were there at the school. We could see that this was where it needed to go to become the school that they wanted it to be. And the vision really was surrounded by the verse that the school is based on, Colossians 2:3, that says, "In Christ are hid all the treasures of wisdom and knowledge." And if I were to sum it up in 3 words, it probably would be the spiritual, the developmental, and the academic. Those were the parts of the vision that touched our teaching the very most. And they're all right there in that verse. And those 3 things became our vision for what we wanted the school to be. And under the leadership of good board members and good headmaster, that's where we started. And the vision of the school is the same today as it was then. There are many, many things that have changed, but the vision of the school has not. It is still strongly based on those 3 elements that come from that verse in Colossians. And I believe it will always be that way because it is God's school.
We could see children coming to us, some from believing families and others not, some being strengthened and some being introduced to Christ for the first time. And we felt this great responsibility to provide them with this integrated education, spiritually and academically, not for personal use, but to serve God wherever He chose for them to be and wherever He chose for them to go. And more than that, to be world changers for Christ. And that became our passion and our driving force. And then God put together this great covenant community of board members and prayer warriors and committed staff and parents who are willing to take a chance on us.
The minute I started, I knew it was exactly where God wanted me. I had no doubt. It was the most wonderful place to start a teaching career. And once I was here, I never wanted to leave. It was perfect.
The close-knit environment that we have here really gives you a feeling of a sense of family, and you go through your ups and downs of high school life, but you still know you have teachers that are looking out for you and loving you and willing to sit aside and pray with you.
The relationship that you can have with students here, you can cry with them, pray with them, laugh with them. I think the biggest thing is to be able to sit down and just pray with them and love on them and give them the ability to walk life and show them Jesus. You just can't get that outside of here. And the joy that it's been to then watch them as adults and hang out now, their colleagues and friends. It's been a great life journey, and this is home.
Any place that you can pursue relationship, any platform that you have to pursue relationship is going to be really fertile ground for the gospel of Jesus Christ to come alive. And this is a place where that happens, and it happens every single day.
Just to see their love for teaching, their love for the Lord, and that was what was so important here to me. When you leave a place like this, you know, it's the atmosphere, the attitude of the kids is just wonderful, especially that they love the Lord. And I was driving by here this morning, coming down from the store, I looked at that piece of property way over here, all the way over to the new house that they're working on. I said, what a piece of land that the Lord has given this town. And I think it's a great ministry right here in the town of Trumbull.
Mrs. A. First of all, I have to say I am so thankful for the call God put on your life and on your husband's life to start this school. And I say this first of all as a parent whose son went here kindergarten through 12th grade, and without a shadow of a doubt, he is the man he is today, partly because of what happened here at Christian Heritage, partly because you listened to God's call and started this school. And I am forever grateful. And then, I truly grew up in this school myself. I've been here 37 years now, and every day it has been a privilege to walk through these doors, to be able to interact with 400 plus eternal souls, and to, God willing, make a difference in their lives for eternity. And so I thank you for that. And truly, I love you.
I remember meeting Pastor Anderson, and one thing he said to me was that we don't want cookie cutter Christians. And I really liked that.
So yeah, I do, of course, owe a tremendous amount to Mrs. A and to Pastor and to the foundation. I can say for myself as a parent and for many, many other parents, the level of what this school has done for my own children as well as for the children of many other families, we will always be grateful for Mrs. A, for your work, for your husband's work, for your vision, Bart, Brad, and Tim for their support, for what the foundation allowed to be possible here, for what the foundation allowed God to do through you. It will impact families for years and years and years to come. So thank you.
Pastor and Mrs. A, God placed on them a mantle of responsibility really for this area. And I think that the sovereignty in that mantle holds true, being who we are and in our singularity in many ways in this area. That is testimony to God's plan, I think, to use these two for his kingdom. And I think often, actually, of Pastor and Mrs. A because I've spent so much of my life here. So much of my life has been here. And without them, without that vision, my life would have taken a drastic turn, a very different direction. And that unspeakable grace that I was talking about that I get to be a part of all the time never would have been. And so my debt of gratitude to them is significant.
From the bottom of our hearts, we just thank all of you for having this vision for this school, having God's vision in mind. And so, 谢谢, thank you.
Thank you, Heritage Foundation, for your courageous and uncompromising vision of excellence in Christian education.
Thank you, Mrs. A, for your vision for the school, your passion for the school, and your continual support for the school. We love you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. A.
Thanks, Mrs. Anderson. Thanks, Mrs. Anderson.
Thank you, Mrs. Anderson.
Thank you, Mrs. Anderson.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your vision for our school. Thank you, Mrs. Anderson.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. A.
Thank you, Mrs. Anderson, for everything that you've done for this school. I wouldn't be here without you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'd like to say thank you. First of all, I want to express my gratitude for Pastor and Mrs. Anderson and the Heritage Foundation. It was obedience to a vision that God gave you years ago, 40 years ago, that has led to what we experience daily here at Christian Heritage School. Thank you. We appreciate all you've done to support the school, for your prayers and for your financial support, as well as the many years of caring for the mission of Christian Heritage School. So thank you very, very much.